Guys, we just need a bit of wall space. We need a yoga block or a book or something, a cushion or something that you can elevate your hips on potentially, and maybe a chair or a stool or the couch. All right, guys, let's start with a little bit of a limber. Just bring one leg out in front of you and start circling through your ankle. Good, nice big circle. And then change direction. Good, guys, try and keep your leg nice and still. And then changing over to the other side. Good. And change direction. Nice work. All right, from there, feet together, hands on your knees, and then just circling around one direction. And the other way. Good. And then coming up from there. Take your feet a little bit wider and then circling your hips around now. So nice big circle. And changing direction. Good. And then taking one hand, double reach over to one side and then over to the other side. Just going at your own pace. Finding a bit of a stretch down the side of your body. Good. And then one more each side. Good. Standing up, and you can bring your feet in a little bit and then go through nice big arm circles. Keep the elbows locked and think about putting the hands together behind you. Good. And then change direction. Good, guys. Big circles. And then into a bit of a German arm swing. One hand goes in front of your body, the other one over the top to the opposite shoulder. That's all right. Good. And then give yourself a big hug. Good, guys. And then pausing there, arms by your side, going through a few neck circles. So chin to chest, and then draw a nice big chin along the clavicle. Look over your shoulder, side bend, and then you're going to look up, rotate over your upper shoulder, side bend, chin to chest, and then reverse, going back the other way. Yes. Try and keep the rest of your body still and avoid any pinching or any painful sensations. One more in each direction.
We're doing 7, 10, and we'll do it, but ready to go whenever. But then the wire makes you go. So it's good to be honest.
Good. And then once you've done that last one there, we're just going to come down into a squat. Pop the hands down onto the floor on your feet, and then bring your hips up into a bit of a hamstring stretch and sit back down. And just working through a few reps there. Good, guys. And then next time you sit down into your squat, pause there, prop your right hand against your right knee. So if you want to have a look front on, and then rotate up to the left, come down and change to the other side. And just going to go a couple more each direction. Try not to let the knee roll in as you rotate. Good. And then you can pause there, come into a lunge position, and then take both arms up, rock forward into a nice hip flexor stretch. Squeeze your butt on the back side, maybe a little bit of a back bend, and then rock back. Good. Nice. And one more. Good. And then swapping over.
Guys, I can hear Dan in the background a lot. He's being picked up on the microphone. You might just want to let him know if
you're being turned off then. You guys have to know.
Hear us?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah. All right, guys, keep going through. Sorry for the little interruption. There you go, the Ross police is out.
Is that Ross complaining?
Yes.
Noted. Good,
and one more. Jesus, wait for a chance, I reckon then. Good, and then you can pause there. All right, from there, coming into a 90-90. I don't mind which side you start. We're just going to transition from side to side. Okay, we're just going to go one good morning over your front leg, nice long spine, anchor your front leg down, and then you're going to start to hinge from the hip, slowly pull those knees apart, and transition over to the other side. And once you get there, if you don't quite hit your 90-90, just adjust your position. Nice long spine for your good morning, and then transition back. And we just got about 60 seconds here, warming into it. Good, guys. And you can have your hands down, or you can take the hands off. Try and sit fairly upright through the upper body. There you go, we got silence now, Ross. That's it, good, guys. Think about pulling those knees as far apart from each other as you can. So it's not just a little swivel, but you're actively working through those hips to try and create a little space. And then after your next good morning, you can pause there. Good, guys. All right, for the first time, we can start with our ankles. So grab your yoga block or book, okay? And the first one, we're going to sit our feet down. So tuck your toes, heels together, sitting back into this stretch here. Try not to let the feet roll out, but pull the heels together. So if you have a look from this angle, the heels are pulling in together rather than out to the side. If it's too strong on the block, you can do it on the floor, okay? So when you're ready, let's find that position, and we've got 60 seconds there. So just sitting back into it. If it becomes too much, you can always lean forward. You can even place your hands down if you need to just take a bit of the pressure out. Otherwise, you can sit right into it and then just breathe through. And for the session today, guys, it's up to you how you want to approach it. If you're feeling a bit stressed and a bit tense and all of that, maybe just take it easy, focus on your breathing, find a good stretch and then hang out there. And if the stretch sensation gets a little bit less and less over time, just sit with it. If you feel like you just want to have a really good stretch and you're fine, you want to push it a bit, then you're going to try and keep a nice intensity throughout each stretch today, okay? But that's up to you. So if your nervous system's a bit fired up, maybe just take it easy. Otherwise, you're welcome to make it nice and strong. Good, guys, we're almost there with this one. Taking one more big breath in, and then a nice long exhale, and then you can come out from there. And then you might want to move your toes and ankles around for a moment. And then we're going to now place the top of your foot onto the block, heels together again. It might be a little bit more challenging with this one to keep them together, and then sitting back. The ankle pushes down to the floor. So rather than, I hope you can see that, rather than closing your ankle, okay, you want to point your toes and let the front of the ankle open and push to the floor. And we've got 60 seconds here as well. And you'll probably find, as I said before, just that your heels might want to try and curl out and away from each other, bring them in, even if you might only get to a position here and you can't quite sit back onto them. But I'm going to find that line. Good, and then just focus on your breathing. Good, so we're going to, as you probably know, start with our lower body and then make our way up and finish with upper body later on. We are over halfway here. Good, just check in on your heels, make sure they haven't rolled out, or if they have, try and bring them back in. If the pressure is getting too much, just come forward a little bit, otherwise stay in it. Good, taking one more full breath here. And then you can slowly come out of there, good, and then just roll your ankles off. And you might want to stand up and walk them out for a moment, whatever you feel like you need. We're going to go into a calf stretch next. We're going to keep hold of the block, and now we want to grab something that we can pop our hands on, okay? So depending on how deep into the stretch you want to go, a chair, maybe the wall, something like that will do. The way we're going to set this up is we're going to place the ball of the foot on your yoga block or your book. We'll start with the right leg. The right leg will be nice and straight. From there, you're going to stick your butt out like you would for a deadlift and hinge forward. Okay? And then you can rest your hands in front of you. If you need something higher, then maybe the back of the chair. You just want to avoid going so low that you have to round your back. You want to keep a nice long spine here. And then put the pressure to the ball of the foot. So elevate the front of your right foot, that's it. Nice, guys. Heel pressing down into the floor. And then stick your bum back, shift yourself back, long spine, folding forward in the stretch. And then rather than when you're going in the bottom of the stretch, taking the weight through the heel and letting the butt drop away, we're going to keep the long spine, but take the pressure through the ball of your foot. And then just breathe into that there. Good, guys. So pressing the heel down, long spine. And then if you find that the stretch is easing off and you'd like to keep that intensity, then just gently rock yourself further over it. And think about using the top of your foot and the front of your shin to pull yourself deeper into that position. That's it, guys. Good. Keep that long spine, so no rounding through your back. Tailbone up, chest out. And we are about another 20 seconds away. Good, guys. Taking a few more breaths here. And then after your next exhale, you can bend that knee and slowly come out of there. Good. And then maybe walk it out or just move that ankle and leg around for a second. And then we'll set it up on the other side. Just going to close this door here, guys. Sorry, 1 second. All right. So let's do the other foot. Pop the ball of your foot onto your block. And then nice long spine, stick the bum out, hinge forward. Good, and then find that stretch. Good, actively pushing your heel down as you pull yourself into that stretch and keep the majority of the weight to the front of your foot again. Nice, everyone. Going on to halfway. If you want to go any deeper into it, go for it. Otherwise, just hold that stretch there. Wherever you are, you want to be able to breathe and relax. Good, everyone. Nice, that's all. Take one more big breath in. And then a nice long exhale, at the end of which you can bend that knee and slowly come out of there. Good. All right, you can walk this leg out for a second, and then we're going to go into a Piriformis Stretch next. So you might want to grab, either keep the block or maybe even grab yourself a cushion or two to bolster yourself up. Okay, I will show you the setup for this one. So we'll start with I'll show you both angles, but I think even though most of you would probably know, but we'll start with the front leg at 90 degrees, okay? We'll go back to the right leg first, knee in line with your hip, and then the shin is parallel. From there, we're going to either keep this leg at 90, if that's where you're most comfortable with, and then fold forward, or you can slide that leg out behind you. You may need to use something under your front hip to elevate the side, okay? If you do that, ideally, you want to have the knee and the hip supported, but if you don't have something that does both, just pop it under your hip, okay? So if you have a look side on, we're going to set up here, and then we want to try and wrap the left hip forward. So we don't let the hip roll over to the ceiling, but you're actively rolling that left hip down so both hips are square. You can stay upright, or you can come down. That's up to you. Okay, wherever you get a nice front stretch. If you stay upright, you might want to use your blocks or a book, but you don't have to, okay, wherever you're comfortable. You're gonna hold this stretch, and then I'll talk you through a couple of contractions here. Ash, you look confused, are you all right? Yeah, cool. Good, guys, so just find that position. Think about squaring your hips up as best as you can, and if you found that your front foot has started to creep in, so it's more towards your hip, see if you can bring it out, so it's a 90-degree angle on your knee. Good, guys. So now just relax into it. Good. Really nice. Just hang out here for now. And then either just hold that stretch if you want to just take it easy, have a nice stretch, breathe into it, and if it eases off, great. If you want to go a little bit harder, if you start to feel the stretch ease off, see if you can push yourself a little deeper into it, maybe reduce your support if you have any, so you keep a nice strong intensity. When we get to the contractions, and it's up to you whether you want to do them, if you just want to hold the stretch, that's fine, just hold it. Otherwise, if you do want to do the contractions, we'll have two different ones. The first one, you're going to push your front foot, your right foot into the floor, like you're trying to sweep it back out to the side, okay, like you're trying to do this with your foot. You're going to go 10 seconds on that, then we have a rest. We're going to go one more time for 10 seconds, pushing the foot down. And on the back of the second one, I want you to then actively use everything on the inside of your leg to try and pull yourself deeper into that position, okay, for 10 seconds. And then we'll relax and finish up there. So we're almost getting ready for these contractions. First one is pushing that front foot down. Ready, let's inhale, start to drive that foot down and gently sweep it to the right for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax, soften into it. And then one more time, inhale, like you're trying to push back out of the stretch. Foot down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and now reverse. Use everything on the inside of your leg and your tummy to pull yourself into that stretch. Pull yourself down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax there. 10 more seconds. Just soften and take a few big breaths. Good, and then after your next exhale, walk your hands back in and come up from there. Good, nice work. All right, and then from there, swivel the hips around for a moment, and then we'll change it over to the other side. Nice work, guys. So finding that 90-degree angle. And then elevate the hips if you need to, keep the hips square, okay? Long spine, either upright or folding up. And we've got 90 seconds here before we get into the contractions. Nice, everyone. Focus on your breathing with the exhale. Think about just relaxing and lengthening through the outside of your hip there. And rather than tucking your tail under, you want to almost think about sticking your butt out a little bit here. Good. Your right hip is actively rolling forward. So we're nice and square. Nice, everyone. About 30 seconds before we start the contractions, just like on the other side. The first two will be pushing the foot down and sweeping it slightly over to the left. And the last one, you're going to actively pull deeper into that stretch. Nice, everyone. Let's all take a big breath in and then start to drive your foot down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Soften into the stretch. Good, guys. And then again, inhale, start to push that foot down like you're trying to push out of that stretch for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now reverse, try and pull yourself down onto your leg and deeper into that stretch for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Relax there. 10 more seconds, guys. Just breathing into it. And then you can walk those hands in slowly and come up from there. Good. Nice work. And then swivel those legs around. From there, we're going to stay in a 90-90. And we're going to go, let's go left leg forward because we're going to work on the back hip. You're going to start with both hips facing forward. And from there, what we're going to do is you're just going to let that back butt cheek sit back onto the floor and then turn a bit forward. So sit the bum back and come back forward. So side on, if you have a look, you start both hips forward, your butt will be off the floor here, and then you just sit that butt cheek back and bring it forward. Like you're trying to tuck that tail under and sit the bum down. Now we're just going to work through some reps and then we're going to hold that stretch here. If you need to, guys, you can't, if you're more upright, it will be a little bit more intense. If you need to, you can lean out to the side and this will make it less intense, okay? So just when you're ready, settle into it and start to work through those reps. Sit the butt down and come forward. Good. Just at your own pace. You're going to hold it in that stretch for a second, go for it. Nice. And with each rep, think about trying to sit that butt cheek down a little bit further. Good. 10 seconds, and then we're going to hold that position with your hips set back with the right butt set down. So on that next rep, just sit into that position and then hold there. Breathe into it. To make it stronger, lean over that leg more. To ease off, lean away a little bit. Nice, everyone. A little longer. Good. Take a few more breaths, focusing on that exhale. Good, and then you can slowly come out of there. Good work, guys. Swivel the legs around if you need to, and then we'll set it up on the other side. Good, so when you're ready, you'll have your right leg forward. Start with both hips facing forward, and then start to sit that butt cheek back onto the floor, and bring it back up. And then just tune in and see, do both sides feel about the same? Does one feel quite different? All those things are good to notice as we go through this. Nice, guys. Same as on the other side, scale it back by leaning out or make it a little stronger if you sit more upright and move it that way. Good, and then sitting it back on your next rep and just hold that stretch there. Thinking about actively tucking that tail under to sit the bum down. Good, last little bit here. Taking one more big breath in. And then a nice long exhale. And from there, coming out of that position. Good. Awesome, guys. All right, for the next one, we're going to go into our couch stretch. So you're going to need a bit of wall or your couch, or you could use a chair as well, as long as it's pushed up against something and doesn't slide away. Okay. So I'm going to show you this one over here. We go back to the right leg first. You're going to pop your knee as close to the wall as you can. Still step into a lunge position with your left leg and come upright. Okay. If you're stuck down here or you can't get this leg into position, then you're going to slide your back knee, your right knee further away from the wall. Okay. From there, we're going to come nice and upright, and we're going to think about tucking our tailbone under a little bit into a slight posterior tilt. Okay. And we're just going to hold that position there. So good, guys. So tuck your bum under a little bit so we're not sticking it out. And then you can lean your upper body back towards the wall behind you. That's it, good. And breathe. We're going to hold the stretch for a while. We're going to go through a couple of contractions here, which I'll explain in a moment. And then we're going to move straight into a hip flexor stretch on the same side. So don't come straight out at the end. I'll give you a heads up now. We're going to be here for a little while. We'll just modify the position a bit. Okay. So once we've held this position, we're going to add a couple of contractions here. The first one, you'll be pushing your foot back into the wall behind you. Okay, like you're trying to put a hole through the wall. For the second one, you're going to not move your body position. That's really important. But you're going to try and pull your heel to your butt and close that gap between your foot and your hips. Okay, so using your hamstrings to pull into it. But for now, just find that strong stretch. If it's easing off and you want to make it a little more intense, tuck your tail a bit more and maybe lean back a little bit further. 20 seconds and then we'll go into those contractions. Awesome, guys. All right, let's inhale. Start to push that foot back behind you. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse heel to butt. Try and use your hamstring. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Soften into it. Stay nice and deep in that stretch. Maybe even move into it a little deeper. And then inhale and push your foot back into the wall for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse heel to butt. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax there. Stay there for a few more seconds. And then just have a quick look before you move. For the next one, we're going to keep our back leg where it is. We're just going to take our front leg further forward and let the back hip drop down to the floor into more of a hip flexor stretch. Okay? So when you're ready, you can start to make that move. If you're really struggling with the back foot in exactly that position, move your knee a little further away from the wall. Otherwise, stay where it is. And your front foot, you want to have your ankle under or in front of your knee, not behind. Okay, so make sure you slide that foot forward. If this foot is too far back, it's going to block you. Oh, pressure coming down. So step that foot forward and then let the hip drop into it. Good, guys. And just stay there. No contractions in this one, but we've got about another minute. Good, guys. Focus on that breathing. About another 30 seconds. If you can, let it drop a little bit closer to the floor. Breathe into your tummies. Really nice, guys, hang in there. Take one more big breath in. Long exhale. Sinking into it. And then you can come up and take that leg back. Good. And then maybe stand up for a moment. Give the legs a little shake. Walk it out. Or maybe just swivel them around on the floor. Whatever you feel like you need. That's a bit better, I think.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. I was like, why it's so dark?
Yeah, it's good. Awesome. All right, guys. So once you're ready, let's start with our cow stretch on the other leg. So we're going to pop the knee nice and close to the wall, and then the right leg comes up in front of you. Once you're there, think about tucking your tail under a little bit. That should make the stretch stronger straight away. Good. And just holding that position for now. And yes, you can use your front leg, your right leg, to gently push yourself back into the wall as well. Good. This is about the point, guys, where I really needed to be here so I can have someone to banter with. It's a bit boring talking to myself. Yeah. Nice. We've got a little over 30 seconds before we go into the contractions. Keep the nice strong stretch on it if you can. If you feel like you can sink any deeper into it, go for it. Otherwise, stay as you are. And then contractively pushing your foot back for the first one, second one, pulling the heel to your butt. Ready? Let's inhale and then push your foot into the wall for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse heel to butt. Let's go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax, softening into the stretch. Maybe lean back a little further if you can, if not, stay there. And then we go again. Inhale, push your foot back behind you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and reverse heel to butt. Let's go. Nice strong effort. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Staying in this position. Got a little longer here, and then we'll walk our front foot out into that longer lunge to get into the hip flexor a bit more. Good. So for the next one, we're going to keep the back leg as it is. When you're ready, you can start to walk that front foot forward, and then let your hip drop until you find the stretch high out through the front of your hip here. If you need to, you can take the back knee a little further away from the wall. And just make sure your front foot is, the ankle is in front of the knee or under the knee, not behind. Good. Good, guys. A little longer here. Work with your breath. Use the exhale to let that hip sink down towards the floor. We've got about another 15 seconds here. Take one more big breath in for me. Nice long exhale. And then you can come out of there. Good work, guys. All right, standing up. We've got one more for our legs before we move into a little bit of spine and then our shoulders. So for this next one, we're going to work into a hamstring stretch. We're going to elevate our foot. Depending on your flexibility and what you've got to hand, you might want to elevate the foot a little bit lower or a bit higher. Okay, so you could just use your chair or a couch or something, pop the leg out in front of you. If you can, keep your knee straight, but you're also welcome to soften it if you can't get a stretch in your hamstring. So if the leg is straight, means that the stretch is all in your calf and pulls in your lower back, then soften your knee a little bit. Okay. From there, we're going to stick the bum out and then hinge forward until we find the stretch, ideally through the back of your thigh. Okay. If you're a little bit more flexible and you have something high enough, you are able to elevate that foot a little bit higher and then fold over it there. So that's up to you depending on what you've got accessible. Let's start with the right leg again. Pop that leg out in front of you. Have your hips square on. So we don't want to let the left hip roll backwards, but both hip bones pointing straight forward. Then stick your bum out and hinge over that leg until you find your hamstring stretch. You can also play around with your foot position. So for example, if pulling the foot towards your shin makes you feel this more in your calves, just relax that foot. Okay, the focus here is on feeling it through the back of your thigh. Good, guys. We will add a couple contractions here as well. For these ones, we're just going to drive the heel down into the chair or whatever you're using, and then relax after. Good, guys. We're going to go through those contractions now, then we're going to hold another 30 seconds at the end. So let's inhale and push your heel down into your chair for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. Keeping that long spine. And again, inhale, drive your heel down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Stay here, last 30 seconds. Good. Just checking in, making sure that stretch is still in your hamstring. Good, and then you can slowly come up from there. Nice. Good, maybe take a couple steps, and then we'll do the same on the other side. So left leg out in front of you, and then just choose whether you have a straight leg or a soft knee, whichever helps you find that stretch in the right area. So through the back of your thigh, and then long spine, folding forward into position. Good, guys. Focus on your breathing. And then if the stretch is easing off, if you do want to push it a little further, just gently hinge deeper into that position. Good, holding here for a little longer before we add the contractions. All right, let's inhale, start to push that heel down into the chair for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax, soften into it. Keep your spine long, guys. You don't want to round forward. Good, and then inhale, drive your heel down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax, soften into the last 30 seconds here. Just focus on your breathing, staying deep in that stretch. Good, and then after your next exhale, soften that leg and come out of there. Good. All right, we can walk the legs out for a second, and then you can pop your chair or whatever you used away, and we're going to come down onto the floor, and we're going to move into what we call a Scorpio. So you just want to have a look while you change your setup. You're going to start on the floor with your arms straight out in line with your shoulders, so you're in a T position. From there, you're going to take one leg, just lift it over the other leg, and then you're going to draw it along the floor, and you're going to try and reach your hand with your foot. Then you're going to draw it slowly back. Keep the foot on the floor the entire time. When you get there, step the other leg over, and then keep the big toe or the foot on the floor, draw it over to the other side for your hand. And you're just going to work from side to side. Okay, so side on, the leg just literally steps over, and you're going to drag it on the floor. If you get to here, say, and you can't reach your hand, walk your hand down further until you have it, okay? Otherwise, keep the hand high, so you have to work for it. We're going to go for time here, so just work at your own pace. I don't mind how many reps, just slowly working your way through. Let's do it. So arms up to the side. To make it easier, slide them down towards your hips a little bit, and then drag your foot along the floor. Only going to lift up as it crosses over the other leg. And try and keep your chest facing down as best as you can. So when that leg goes over, try not to let your chest roll all the way to the ceiling, but you're going to actively try and reach your hand towards the floor. So let's say the left leg is moving. Reach your left hand down, so you're trying to square that chest to the floor. Good, guys. Nice, we've got a little longer here. About another 20 seconds. See if you can slide that foot maybe a little bit higher on those last few reps. Keep that chest facing down a little bit more. Good, and then just finish the rep that you are on. Good, guys. All right, from there, we're gonna leave the chair again. Sorry, I know I told you to put them away, but we're gonna go into a stretching cat. Your hands will be shoulder width on the chair or the couch in front of you, or coffee table will do. Walk your knees back until they're under your hips, and then we're gonna sink down, and you can let your chest and your spine arch, let the chest sink down to the floor. From there, tuck your tail, curl yourself up, and then sink back into position. Okay, so for today, we're keeping, you can let the ribs flare, so we're getting a little bit of thoracic extension as well as a little bit of shoulder flexion here, okay? Try not to let your hands move out too wide, okay, but have them in line with your shoulders. You can. If there's any pinching in your shoulders when you do this, then do take them wider, otherwise just keep them shoulder width apart, okay? All right. Maybe you're ready. Or you could, if you don't have anything to rest your hands on, you can go hands against the wall as well. That's another option here. Good, guys. And just at your own pace, let that chest sink down, arch your back, and then from your tailbone, slowly curl yourself back up. Nice. And if you feel like you want to hold it for a few seconds in the bottom position, in that stretch where it feels the tightest, go for it. Just feel what your body needs and then go for it. Good, and then if anyone wants to hold at the bottom for the last 15, go for it. If you want to keep going through reps, keep working through the reps. If you're holding at the bottom, you're welcome to play with tucking the ribs in and letting them flare out, or just letting the chest flare out, holding that position. Whatever feels good for you. And then after that rep, you can slowly, or that next one, you can slowly come up from there. Good, guys. All right, for the next one, we're going to come up to standing. And we're going to take our left leg across our right. You're going to reach your left hand up overhead. You're going to use your right hand on the left wrist, and you're going to gently pull yourself over towards the right. So you should find a nice big stretch along the side of your body. Okay, so let's get into it together. Left leg steps in front of your right. Just cross it over. Take your left hand up, then use your right hand to grab your left wrist and gently pull yourself over. So your right hand actively pulls the left hand over, and you can push your hips out to the left. Good, and just holding there. And you should find a nice stretch anywhere down along this line, depending. If you're more tight up through here, that's where the stretch is going to sit. If you're a bit tighter around there, you probably find the stretch a little bit lower over your hip. Good, just holding there, breathing into it. Guys, I'm still here on the other computer. Keep going if you can hear me. I'm not sure what's happened. Sorry. Just going to start the video on this one. It's not going to be the same, but. Good. 15 seconds. Think about breathing space into your ribs. Good, and then slowly coming back up from there. Nice. All right, just roll your shoulders off. If you need to, maybe swivel the hips around. So a few hip circles, whatever you need, and then we'll swap it over. Step the right leg over the left. Right hand goes up. Take your left hand, grab the right wrist, and then pull into that stretch. Good, and just slowly think about lengthening through this side of the body now, and think about breathing space into your rib cage. So if you're trying to let the ribs flare out and get some space between them. Good. Awesome, over halfway there, guys. If this holding this gets too much, you can take one hand down by your side, but otherwise see if you can hold for another just over 10 seconds there. Good, and then you can slowly come up standing. Good. Swivel the hips around and the shoulders, whatever you need. And then we're going to move back onto the floor. I'll show you standing up first so you can see a bit better, and then I'll show you face down. We're going to go into a bit of a pec stretch and shoulder stretch. We're going to start with the arm slightly below 90, okay? So almost like a little bit of an A frame if you have both arms up. From there, we're going to hold that for 30. We're going to move the arm up into T position in line with the shoulder, and then we're going to move it slightly higher. So you'll have 3 different positions for this one, 30 seconds each, okay? So we're going to start this one, arm down just below your shoulder, okay? We don't want to have it too far down by the hip, probably about halfway between, if not slightly higher. You're going to roll your shoulder to the floor. You're going to shift your hips away from the side you're stretching, so we'll start with the right arm, which means your hips will go to the left, and then you're going to roll onto that arm, okay? Then you can use this hand to gently push yourself into the stretch. Sorry, can you guys see? I was just still going by the camera, but I just realized that's the wrong angle. Could you see? Just give me a thumbs up if you know what we're doing. Yeah? Okay, cool. Sorry. I was going by that camera rather than by the laptop. So starting with the right arm, place it just below shoulder height. There we go. And then roll that shoulder down and then roll onto it. You can use your left hand to gently push your shoulders on top of each other, or you could take your left hand and reach it behind you to try and grab hold of your right hand if you're quite flexible. I know a couple of you will be. If your shoulders are like mine, you're not going to get there. Good. And so if you can reach those hands, you can pull yourself into it that way. Otherwise, use your left hand on the floor to push into it. Good. From there, roll back onto your chest a little bit. So come out a little, slide your hand up a bit higher now so it's about in line with your shoulder. Move that right arm up your side. Then roll the right shoulder back into the floor and then roll back onto the arm. I just don't want you to move your arm while you're deep in the stretch. Okay, so you just got to come out a little, move the arm, and then move back into the stretch. Good. Good, and then slowly rolling back onto your chest, and now bring your arm up into a Y, so a little bit higher than shoulder height. You don't want to go too high up. You won't find much of a stretch there, but on about a 45 angle. Good, and then just sinking into it there. Still keeping that right shoulder rolled down into the floor as best as you can. Good. Use your exhale to soften into that stretch. We're almost there. Any pins and needles? I should have said that sooner. Sorry, just back off a little bit. Good. And then after your next exhale, gently roll back onto your chest. And then you can roll that shoulder off a couple times if you like before we'll do the same on the other. Good. All right. So when you're ready, pop that left hand slightly lower than shoulder height. And then roll the left shoulder into the floor. Shift your hips to the right a little bit first. So just shuffle them along on the floor. And then you're going to roll onto your left arm. Good. And holding there. Nice, guys. That's looking good. Breathing into it. And then rolling onto your chest. Move your hand up. So now it's in line with your shoulder. Find that nice T. And then rolling back onto your arm into that second position. Really nice, guys. A little longer there. Good. After your next exhale, roll back onto your chest and then move that hand a little bit higher than your shoulder into that Y. Once you're there, roll that shoulder back down into the floor and then over on top. So keep a nice strong stretch on it all the way through. About 10 more seconds. And then after that next exhale, slowly roll back onto your chest before you move that arm and come up from there. Good, guys. All right, we're going to finish with a little bit of forearms and wrists. So for the first one, just place your hands down. I'm just going to rock forward a few times over and then use the fingers to come back out. Good, just moving into a little bit of that stretch there. And then stay forward and now just going from side to side a few times. So transfer the weight from the thumb onto the pinky side of your hand and back. Good. And now back off a little bit, take the shoulders back, turn your fingers around the other way, drive the palms down, and then sit into that stretch there. Come as far back as you need to, find a stretch through your forearms. Good. And you can play with placing your hands closer towards each other, so having the hands a little bit closer or having them a little further apart. Holding there for a little longer, and then we'll get onto one forearm at a time. Good. So coming back forward. Now, I'm going to see if probably we're going to go to our right arm first. We're going to start with the palm in the same position. We're going to start to bend the elbow. Let the palm come off, but keep the fingers down. And you're going to try and get your elbow behind your middle finger towards the floor. And that should get stronger into the forearm there. So the fingers are on the floor, maybe the first knuckles are just coming off, but your palm is off, the elbow is pulling down, trying to make it contact the floor behind your middle finger. Good. Nice. And then coming back up from there, give the hand a quick shake. Now you're going to place that forearm down onto the floor, and then you can use your knees, same side or opposite side, try and massage that forearm a little bit. Just move it up and around, and then when you find a spot that's a bit tender, a bit niggly, you might want to hold there for a moment and think about letting all that tissue melt around your knee. Or you might want to just move it up and down if holding it in one spot is too intense. Good. A little longer there, and then we'll move on to the other side. Good. All right, guys, you can come up from there. Let's go into the left hand, or the other hand if you did the left first. Place the palm on the floor with the fingers pointing back towards you. Then bend your elbow and pull it down to the floor behind your middle finger, letting the palm of your hand come up. Good. And just holding there for a moment. Good. A little longer. With your exhale, let that elbow sink to the floor even more. Should get fingers a little bit as well. Good. And then coming up from there, and then place your forearm down. Use your knee on that forearm and massage it a little bit on that side. Good, guys, we've got about 30 seconds here. Find the spots that you feel like really need it, and then spend a bit of time there. Stay off the bony parts, focus on the meaty parts of the forearm. Good, and then you can slowly come up from there, and then just roll your wrists off a couple times in each direction. And then that's us for today. So if you like, feel free to put the mics on for a second. Sorry about the video dropping off there. I'm not sure what the issue was, to be honest. But here we go. We got sound after all.
Thanks, Kat.
You're welcome, guys.
Thanks, Kat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good to see you all.